This week I had two similar conversations, one with a businessman, the other with a pastor. Both of them were asking me questions, and we were having a conversation about where do leaders come from, whether it's in a business or whether it's in a church context or a campus ministry context. And both of these individuals were asking me, how do I identify a potential leader? And I want to look at that today in a scripture in 1 Chronicles chapter 11. And what I see in here, there are 5 marks that this person you're working with might be a potential leader. There are 5 signs or 5 actions or 5 things this person does that might indicate you have a future leader, a potential leader in your midst. While this passage is about David as he was becoming king, I think there's a lot of application to the modern world as well. So here we go. Number 1. A habit, an action, an activity, a mark, a sign that you might have a potential leader in your midst. Here it is. Leaders lead. Yeah, number 1, leaders lead. Potential leaders lead. Future leaders lead. If someone is waiting until they have a title or a position or a job or a salary or a budget or a staff before they do anything, they're not a potential leader. Here's what it says in 1 Chronicles 11, chapter 1. Then all Israel gathered together to David at Hebron and said, Behold, we are your bone and flesh. Verse 2, in times past, even when Saul was king, it was you who led out and brought in Israel. So in the time when Saul was king, he had the title, he had the position, he had the power, he had the authority, he had the recognition, he had the salary, he had the office and all of that. But the people knew, David, we were following you. David wasn't doing an insurrection. He was just a leader. Leaders lead with or without a title. If the person is waiting for a title to lead anything and no one's following, and we think that when we give a title or position that somehow people will magically start following someone they never followed before, that's probably not a potential leader. Secondly, leaders lead people. Yes, we lead organizations. Yes, we lead departments. Yes, we lead divisions and regions and all of these kind of things, and we lead institutions. But ultimately, no matter what we are leading, when you boil it down, we are leading people. Here's what it says. And the Lord your God said to you, you shall be shepherd of my people. You shall be prince over my people. So even here, when the people are saying Saul was king, he had the position, but David, you were the leader, it was people. And then the word of the Lord came and said, David, you've been shepherding sheep, but you will shepherd people. You've been leading sheep, but you will lead people. And again, David didn't just lead the army, and he didn't eventually just lead the kingdom. The foundation of leadership is leading people. So if you're looking for a potential leader, look for somebody who's already leading. If you're looking for a potential leader, look for someone that people are following, someone who can lead people, someone who has a relational IQ. There are some people who are great strategists. They get things done. They're men and women of action, and there are trails of body bags behind them because they don't know how to lead people. They know how to lead projects, but the people don't want to work with that person anymore. So we're looking for potential leaders. We're looking for someone already leading. We're looking for someone who really knows how to connect with people. And thirdly, leaders do hard things. It's easy to do the things that are comfortable and don't really have any risk. But we see here with David in verse 4. And it says, and David and all of Israel went to Jerusalem. And it describes here Jerusalem had people living there. They were called the Jebusites. They were the inhabitants of the land. And then in verse 5, the inhabitants said to David, you will not come in here. So there are people there, and they're saying, no, you're not welcome here. You're not coming here. Nevertheless, and this is a good word for leaders, for potential leaders, for future leaders. There's difficulty, there's obstacles, there's opposition. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David, of course. If David had not taken the stronghold of Zion, then it wouldn't be the city of David. So leaders do tough things. Leaders do difficult things. They're not just looking for the easy road. If you see people that are willing to step up when it's difficult, you might have a future leader on your hands. Number 4, leaders go first. Verse 6. David said, whoever strikes the Jebusites first shall be chief and commander. So David's vetting process for his military leader was really simple. We're trying to take this city that is Jerusalem, where the Jebusites live. Whoever attacks first, you'll be the commander. Whoever goes first, you'll be the commander. And then it says this, and Joab, the son of Zeruiah, went up first, so he became chief. So David says, whoever goes first, you're the leader, you're the commander. So Joab went first, and David said, okay, you went first, so you're the chief. Leaders go first. Management and leadership guru Peter Drucker tells a story, writes about a story, and often told it when he was alive and teaching leadership. When he was in high school, I think he was in high school like in the 20s or 30s, and it was in a history class. And he talked about a book that they read in high school in history, and there was a class discussion about it. And his high school teacher was a wounded military veteran from World War I. And the book, as they were talking about it, the book was pointing out that the World War I, there was a lot of incompetency on all sides that led to more deaths than there should have been. And they were talking about that in the classroom, and they asked the professor, not the professor, the high school teacher, they asked him, and his comment, Drucker spoke about, made leadership principles all over the world for decades. And the quote went something like this, the high school teacher, he said, the reason there was so much incompetency and the reason the war, so many people needlessly lost their lives, because not enough generals died. And Drucker took that quote from his teacher when he was a teenager and applied it to leadership. And what it meant was in World War I, unlike many previous wars, in World War I, the generals led from the back. They didn't go first. They sent others to go first and sent more and more and more because it was not really risky to them. This is a general statement. This is not every single case. But the idea that this guy who was there and was injured said there weren't enough generals. And when the leader goes first, there's a better chance of being injured and even dying. And so that phrase, I've never forgotten that. There weren't enough generals because they were all in the back. So this idea of leaders go first. And so David says, okay, we're in this battle. We're trying to take this city. Whoever goes first, you're going to be the leader. Because that's what leaders do. Leaders go first. If you're leading something, especially if you're a founder, whether it's a campus ministry, whether it's a new department, whether it's a church plan, or whatever it is, if you're leading something, you're probably leading because you went first and then others followed. Now, sometimes leaders can be deluded about what it means to go first. I was the leader of Victory Church Metro Manila for a couple of decades, not because I was the smartest, not because I prayed more than everyone else, not because I was the best preacher. I was not. I was none of that. Not because I was the best educator, and not because I was even the best leader. I was the senior pastor simply because I went first. That's the way it is sometimes. But it's important that if you are the leader because you went first, that you don't think that that means that you are better and smarter and more godly and all of this. No, what it means is you went first. You took the risk. So if we have a leadership shortage and we're looking for future leaders, we're looking for potential, look for the one who goes first, not the one who hesitates and waits for others to go. If someone goes first, it doesn't mean they are a leader. It doesn't mean you give them a position. Keep an eye on them though, because leaders go first. And then number 5. Finally, if you're looking for potential leaders, look for leaders who are already leading, not waiting for a position. Look for leaders who know how to lead people. They know how to relate to people. Look for potential people who do hard things. That might be your next leader. Look for leaders who go first. They don't wait on anyone else. There's a sense of urgency. And finally, the last sign that you might have a leader in your midst, the last mark of someone who might be a potential leader, we see it in verse 8, and he built the city all around. He built. He didn't just take initiative. He didn't just go first. He didn't just get into battle and start doing hard things, but he also built. And that's a slow, tedious process. And you see as you read the rest of it that he started pulling in teams to do different individuals to do parts of the building that he wasn't an expert in, but he made sure something was built. So I hope that helps you, because any growing ministry, any growing department, any growing church will seem to have a leadership shortage, but I believe that your potential leaders are in your midst already. I believe your future leaders are in your midst already. It's just, how do we recognize them? And I hope this story of David helps you recognize the potential leaders that are all around you.